5, 4. Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 54 of the APB Podcast. It's kind of a last minute idea. Was not planning on doing a podcast tonight. My lovely wife, Noelle, got called in for a bit of a shift down at her job, so the night just kind of got a little more free and a little more open. Not that it's not free. It's probably a bad way to put it. Just had a little more time. Usually we, talk about the family and about life and everything that, we have to do and accomplish to keep everything we have going forward. But right now the kids are all in bed. And so instead of spending time with her talking about our plans and what we're going to be doing with life and stuff going forward, I'm like, well, got some time. Still a little bit jet lagged and a little bit messed up from the trip to Boston that we were just on, which was a whole heck of a lot of fun, gotta say. And I think the jet lag still has me a little bit befuddled. Has me a little bit flubbed up still. But thought, well, geez, why not do just an unplanned podcast tonight? Why don't you just, throw one out? Got some thoughts rolling around. Let's see if we can't get one up and have a little fun one here tonight, just to kind of recount the memories from this past weekend. So this past, was it Thursday? Flew out to Boston with the wife and our oldest girl, who's 14. Took her to the East Coast for the first time, which was a lot of fun. And we were going to see Dr. Rob, Mr. Rob Cello, who's been on the podcast before. He had some writing up on the SafeReturnDuffel.net website a few times. He was getting married this weekend. So we got a nice invite to go out and wish him and his new wife Megan a hearty congratulations, and it was great. They're wonderful people. Got to see some great old longtime friends, reconnect. On that face-to-face basis, which is something that's unique that you just can't really recreate. You can't recreate face-to-face. With all the different technologies that we have, there is something still about being right there in the room with someone that just really makes it a little more special, maybe a little more memorable, maybe a little nostalgic feeling, when you would spend time as teenagers all hanging out at wherever your hangout spot was, whether or not it was an arcade or a mall or out in the woods somewhere in a special little hideaway that you had. Me and a lot of those friends, we did hang out at all of those places. Oh, and also trying out a little something new tonight, where I actually got a set of headphones plugged in to the Zoom here, and I got the volume turned down a little bit. I'm actually got headphones in, which is definitely sounds a little bit different, because I'm kind of hearing my voice, but I'm also hearing it through the headphones. So let me know if you think this sounds a little bit better or not, or better or worse. I think it takes some of the air, I think it compresses it a little bit more, so it might sound a little tighter, maybe a little, if this tends to work out to sound a little bit better in the long run, I'll see if there's a way I can hook up more headphones so that's a little bit easier for everyone to kind of hear what's going on, and it can pull in so you don't hear too much background stuff. Like there's some background stuff going on right now that I don't think you really hear. It doesn't look like the levels are jumping on some of the background stuff. So I don't know. Let me know if you think this sounds better or if you prefer a little bit more of the open airiness. I think some of the open airiness is fun when you have 3-4 people like we do every now and then here on the APB. But I don't know, this might be a fun little, might make it sound a little more intimate tonight with APB episode 54. Just Bill solo out in the shed bar having a Voodoo Ranger IPA from Deschutes, who is unknowingly sponsoring our podcast. Well, they're not really sponsoring it. They don't give us any money. We give them money, but they give us beer in exchange. And then the beer leads to thoughts and fun conversations. So I guess in a way, in a roundabout way, they're sponsoring us. But let me just say that if there's a way I could heat this shed bar or move this entire complex to a place where it's warm at night all the time, I totally would. Because this is pretty spectacular right now. I also might need a couple more lights, because right now I have I got like 4 candles lit right now, and that's all the light I'm dealing with. And it's like, what, 10? What time is it? 10 something? It is 10. Hello, phone. Phone, please tell me what time it is. Oh, it's 10:36 on a Tuesday. I kept thinking it's Monday because today was the first day I worked this week. It's actually Tuesday, so I only have 2 more days of work this week. Anyway, we were talking about Boston. So we went to Boston, and it was a whole lot of fun. Now, some great things you only hear in Boston stories that I would like to share with you tonight. And first, as we do a lot of the times, let's cheers. If you have a drink, if you're listening to this on your morning commute, raise up your coffee. If you're listening to this on your evening commute, raise up your quote unquote water or whatever it is you're having in your ride home, or if you're at home and you're sitting back with a glass of wine or a mug of beer, or however you unwind your day while you're listening to the APB, raise one up and we'll cheers you right now to a vacation, time off, and old and new friends. Let's cheers old and new friends tonight, everybody. I don't know if you heard that or not, but it was delicious. So anyway, we went to Boston. We decided to take a red-eye flight, so we left Seattle at like midnight. I thought, we'll just sleep on the plane, which in theory, and I was totally in agreement with this. Like, this makes sense. Wake up in the morning, do a bunch of stuff all day, pack your bags, get ready, go there in the dead of night, get on the plane at midnight, kick back, fall asleep, wake up at your destination. Sure. Unfortunately, Montana and Michigan had other things to say about that plan as we hit some pretty ballsy turbulence. And we were like, it was kind of dropping through the air. And yeah, it was a little like, it wasn't scary because it's turbulence. And I've flown enough times where turbulence isn't, it's not scary. It's jarring. And it's definitely not something you can sleep through. So we were on, can I say what flight we were on? What airline? I could probably say that. I think that's okay. We were on I'm only going to say positive things. We were on a JetBlue. And it was a good experience. I'd never been on a plane that actually had working satellite TV. on the plane. Like, we had working direct TV. I'm like, oh, well, fucking hey. I woke up and I looked around and I saw some other guys, other people. I'm not sure, guys, girls, whatever. So there were other people watching TV, and I'm like, oh, this guy's watching the basketball game. Must have been like, I don't know, like a repeat of the game from earlier or something or whatever. Probably wasn't live at 2 a.m. in Montana. I'm like, oh, what? I'm tapping the screen in front of me. And I'm like scrolling through. I'm like, oh, what the fucking Rick and Morty? I can watch Rick and Morty on the plane? Fuck yeah, what episode? Me Seeks and Destroy. Oh, yes. Yes, winning. I'm like, heck yeah, I plugged my headphones in. I'm like, no, I'm hanging out watching Rick and Morty. Like, this is great. And as uncomfortable as plane seats can be, there's only there's only so many ways you can turn, and especially at that time, having been up since like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. It's now like 2, 3 a.m. Slept for a little bit, but man, you want to get to like on your side, or you want to, and you just can't, like, like my hips and shoulders were desperately trying to like turn me to one side or the other, and it just was not going to happen. So Rick and Morty was a great escape, and hey, I'll definitely hand it to JetBlue, having, there's like a insane amount of movies and live TV just right there. So congrats, guys. That's wonderful. I really appreciated that. I hadn't really seen that before, so it's definitely a positive. Makes flying a little bit saner, a little bit easier to deal with. So we got down into Boston around like 7 or 8 a.m., somewhere around there. And we go to the rental car counter, meet this nice older lady, from the sounds of her accents, total native Bostonian. And Noelle had booked everything through the rental car service, so everything was in her name. And so she's at the counter talking to the lady, and oh, here, this is you. Here's your ID. She's like, sir, can I see your ID? I'm like, oh yeah. So she's like, oh, are you two married? And we're like, oh yeah. She's like, oh well, all right, yeah. Then you can both drive, and even if you were living in sin, you could still both drive. It's true. I'll turn around, looked at me, and she was like, oh, okay. And I'm like, oh my God, living in sin? And I just started laughing, and the woman's like, oh no, I fought for that. Like you gotta live with them before you marry them, so you know what it is you're getting into. It was too classic. Even if you're living in sin, it's true. And that became like our tagline for the 4 or 5 days we were in Boston. Me, Noel, and Kiki, we'd all look at each other and we're like, it's true. And she meant well. It was just classic. Even if you're living in sin, it's true. So that was, we walked away from the counter, and the great part of that. So she's like, all right, so your car, all right, let me check, get back into the accent. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to go down to the end of the counter, past the Dunkin' Donuts, take a right, go through the door, and your car will be right out there in section G. And we're like, okay. And so we walk away. We're like, thank you, thank you so much. We'll talk to you later. She's like, have a great trip. And so we're walking. I'm just laughing, and I'm like in front because I'm trying to get away from the scene without laughing about it. I don't want to seem rude or anything. It just all the coincidences of all those things all just kind of landed all at the same time. And I was just like, I gotta go. So we're walking, and after we get through some of the crowd thins out a little bit, and Noel and Kiki get up next to me, and I'm like, well, guys, if you wanted a better introduction to Boston, you couldn't possibly have had one. First, there's the living in sin comment, and then you go down to the end of the counter past the Dunkin' Donuts. It was too much, man. It was too much to take. It was so funny. I'm like, yes, here we are. Yes, those accents are real. Yes, that really happens. It's not exaggerated. That's what it really sounds like. Too funny, man. Too funny. The other classic Boston accent moment was definitely, I think it was either Friday or Saturday morning. I forget which exact morning it was. I think it was Saturday. I think it was Saturday morning. There was like 4 guys, boys. I don't know. To me, they look like probably early 20s. Somewhere between maybe 19 and 23. There's 4 of them. They all kind of seem to range somewhere in there, And so, they got a Red Sox shirt on. One kid got a Celtics shirt on. And they're just kind of walking. Because we were staying in a little Airbnb in one of the little neighborhoods in Quincy. And so these 4 guys, they're like walking along the sidewalk, half on the road, half on the sidewalk. Because it's the tiny back roads of Quincy. If you want to go 4 wide, you're going to take up all of the sidewalk and half of the road. That's just how it's going to happen. And so I just note them as we're, getting in the truck. I'm like, all right, look at these goofs. Okay. Yeah. All right. Look harmless enough. It's fine. It's 11 a.m. on a Saturday or whatever. It's fine. They're probably still hungover, recovering from Friday night's bender. And they're walking past the car, and you can hear their conversation as, starting to get a little, as they get closer. You can hear them mumbling, but then as they get a little bit closer, it gets a lot clearer. And the one kid got to the part of his story where it's like, and yeah, that fucking kid was a fucking idiot. And he looks over, and I guess Noelle just was shocked. She wasn't shocked by the language, obviously. She works in a bar. She was just kind of like, oh, taken aback by the volume about how loud all of a sudden they were. And she looks over, and she's like, oh. And the kid goes, geez, sorry. I don't know if he was saying sorry to Noelle or sorry that we had a younger girl, sorry to the fact that there were 2 girls there, or whatever it was. But he was like, geez, sorry. And he just kept walking like, sorry, ma'am, sorry for cussing. I didn't mean to drop an F-bomb in front of you and your daughter. It was just so. We got in the rental car, and I'm like, you know what? The Boston just can't. You just can't stop being so obviously Boston. This is too hilarious. This is not real. It's just too funny. But yeah, it was classic, and the rest of the trip was really good. It was really good. I do not miss the East Coast at all. I enjoyed seeing friends and family. That part was great. The general atmosphere of the Northeast is not. Yeah, I'm just not there. anymore. It just seemed, I don't know, it just seemed around here when you say hi and, you kind of nod to people on the sidewalk, it just is a nice little friendly giving back and forth. If I took a walk on one morning just down to the Starbucks in Quincy Center, and man, you could not get a single person to look at you or acknowledge you. Like everyone's in their own little like staring down. And I can understand, like people say, people in Seattle are staring at their phones and buried in their technology. And yeah, I get that. That I get that. That could be a drawback. But man, like most of the people I saw around Quincy, Weymouth, Boston area, man, everyone's just staring down just in misery or just lost in their own personal torment. They're not looking at a phone or anything. They're just staring at the sidewalk. Like, God, when am I gonna die? Oh. It's one thing about being maybe productive and trying to make your business operate, or I don't know, talking to a friend or whatever on your cell phone so your head's down. But I think that's maybe slightly better, or at least parallel in sameness is pushing your walker and just staring down at the curb like, God, when is it gonna end? Oh, why? So I was like, yeah, try and walk by like, hey, good morning. Yeah, nothing. Nothing at all. Like, oh, okay. Okay, bye. Okay. Sorry. Didn't mean to say good morning to you. It's been a hard 70-something years for you. I'm sorry. It's rough. It's not easy out there, man. It's not. I get it. Life is hard, or life can be hard. There's a lot of obviously there's some things physically. We all have physical things that we can't necessarily control. But you can change your mindset a lot to change how you think and feel about things and how you react to some of these things around. That could possibly change your life to make you feel a little bit better about this whole experience. Yeah, that's all it is. It's just you got 60, 70, 80, maybe 90 years on this chunk of rock hurling through space. You can kind of make some choices and do with what you want with it. Obviously not 100% of the choices. There are some outside interferences. But you got to learn to deal with those. I'm dealing with a lot of those myself right now. Just changing jobs and stuff. So it's tricky stuff, no doubt, but you don't want to let the negativity get in there and drag you down, and you don't want to get stale and stagnant, man. I mean, as perfectly nice and wonderful as that woman was at the rental car counter, to be using a term like living in sin in 2018. Like living in sin. Like what century is this? I mean, it was cute and it was quaint, but at the same time, it was a reminder to not get stuck in some past stuff, and to hopefully never stop growing and trying to keep moving forward and pressing forward and learning new things and growing and expanding and hopefully getting better. you know. I think it gets hard. It gets harder as you get older to just keep bringing in new information and adding to the database in your brain. It gets hard, because you kind of get used to the way things are, and that's your comfort zone. And who wants things to change? Change is the hardest. Change is the bitch, man. And it happens, and you just gotta, find a way to bite down and deal with it. Sometimes it's change that you start on your own. Sometimes it's change that is thrusted upon you. But the only consistency is change. So you just gotta make sure you keep your brain nimble to the point where you can deal with those changes. Sometimes it's easier than others. It's not always easy. Nothing always is. Some things flow perfectly great all the time. Other times things are a challenge and nothing fucking goes right. And you can't ever seem to just get all the ducks in a row to just make them all work. And that's frustrating as fuck, but totally happens. And it's okay. It's okay. And it's okay to get frustrated by it. It's okay to have it throw you off. God damn it. Today was a shit day. Nothing seemed to work, and I don't know why. But it happens. It happens. So, happens to everybody. It's how you deal with it, how you process it, how you let it affect other people around you, and then how you get through it and learn and hopefully get better the next time that happens. And then you can move forward and get better about the whole thing. That's always should be forefront in all of our brains, is how we're getting better, how we're learning, and how everything gets a little bit better. This is a Get Better podcast, everybody. APB with Let's Get Better. I'm gonna get better right now with a little more Voodoo Ranger IPA. This is really nice. This is, I wish I could kind of have the cameras on. There's very little light. There's not no light, but there's very little light in the shed bar tonight. But this is a really pretty view, if I can kind of describe it. So we got the flickering candlelight here in the little shed bar. And I got the doors just cracked a little bit. And you can just see a few stars and a couple planes just kind of twinkling out there. And the temperature is just right. Just right. Just got like a little long sleeve shirt on. And just cozy right now, man. It's just perfectly cozy. This is great. So hopefully we'll have more of these podcasts coming all this summer long. What is that? Oh, it's a plane. Okay. That's not a star. It's a plane. I was like, that's really bright and it's moving and it's a plane. Okay, good. Hopefully we'll get more of these. Hopefully this will be the summer of podcasts with lots of good guests, lots of different guests. Bring in as many people as we can get on this weirdo. And maybe we'll get some more of this technology. Let me know if this version sounds better. Maybe I can get some sort of like headphone deck or something because right now I just have like one headphone jack. But if this sounds better, let me know. I can figure out a way to connect more so we can have guests with headphones on and we can cut out some of the air in the atmosphere and kind of pull it down a little bit tighter. And maybe this sounds better. Maybe it sounds a little more professional. Oh, yes. Episode 54. The Professional. Yes. I don't know. It'll be fun. Anyway, I'm looking forward to it all. It's only May. It's May. What's today? The 22nd. Tuesday, May 22nd for another hour. I'm looking forward to it all. I don't know what this summer's going to bring. I think there's going to be a lot of changes and a lot of different stuff kind of floating up and around. It feels like I was talking to Robbie Current today, and it just feels like there's a shift going on somewhere out there for a few of us. I would love this vehicle to be at least a way where we can, all hang out and work through it and express it. And if it helps other people out, that'd be fantastic. If you're going through some changes and some stress, and some of our conversations and stuff, you can relate to, and you're gonna try and do some more of the live ones, like the Facebook Live one that we did last time. And we do have a YouTube channel up, so maybe we'll try and do some live YouTube ones while also, putting up the video later on for repeat viewing, because Shaw, who doesn't love rewatching the APB podcast on YouTube? But yeah, hopefully this summer will be just a summer of wonderful podcasts, and we'll kick this stuff out in Fast and Furious style. All sorts of great things coming. So with that, thank you for listening for this short little fun little podcast tonight. It's always appreciated. You guys listen to our fun little rambles. So if you like it, share it around. I'll put the link up on on all the media, the Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Safe Return Doubtful and myself, Bill Elms, were on all this stuff. And share it around. Let people know. If you're listening to this on iTunes, drop us a review and drop us some stars. And the more of those that we get, the more it kind of takes the APB podcast and puts it out into more things. So if you're listening to one podcast, it's like, oh, you may also like the APB, with more reviews and more likes and star reviews. It kind of bumps up in the logarithm, kicks it up a little bit higher. So the more of those we get, man, we appreciate it, to kind of share around some of these feelings and thoughts and ideas. And when we do some of the live ones, you'll be on here too with us. It's an open forum. And that's the only way we can learn and get better and get forward, is with more openness, more communication, more talking. And that just makes our life full and great and wonderful. And so thank you again for listening tonight. For all of us from SafeReturnDoubtful.net, this is Bill for the APB Podcast, episode 54, signing off, saying thank you, and we will see you again real soon. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night. Peace and love.